Hello, accounting. We are going to take a look at posting. Posting is the process of taking journal entries, like we have here, and transferring that information to the ledger. And the ledger, as you will recall from our discussion, is a breakdown of all the accounts utilized by a business to make a permanent record of the transactions that first occur in the journal. And so the first thing that we are going to do is learn how to split our window into two so that we can work on the journal page on one side of the screen, in this example perhaps on the left side, and then we can go over and work on the ledger on the right side of the screen while still working in the same document. What do I mean? Well, these two documents are exactly the same document, they're just two different windows. For example, I've got my cash and bank here and here. If I make a change here, let's say the date is not there, and let's say the date should be the 1st. If I put a 1, notice that it's showing up on both sides. That's because it's just two views of the same document. That will enable us to be able to go through the ledger on one side, like I'm doing over here on the right side, and then still have my journal open up over here. So it'll be a lot easier than some of that we were trying to do in class, where we were scrolling back and forth to the journal looking for all of these different accounts. And so the way you do that is quite simple. It goes just like this. Open your document. So your document's full page looks like this. And the only thing you need to do is go from Home, click over to View, and click New Window. And there you go. And then when you minimize these, you can go ahead and arrange them on one half of the screen and the other one on the other half, like so. And there you go. And then we can go to work with different sections of the same workbook. And you will notice Ledger Account Template Teacher 1, and then this one is Teacher 3, Ledger Account Template. That's because it's the second time that I've done that. So it doesn't matter though. You can open them up as often as you want and get different views, especially when we start having these complicated documents like we do. So go ahead and get that done. Ask any questions that you have in class, and we'll get you set up like this, and then we can go ahead and continue with posting of this problem 6-5. All right, assuming you've got these two windows open, let's go ahead and do a quick review of the posting. And so we'll start with this first transaction over on the left side. This is our journal. And then we've got the ledgers over on the right side. So here's that transaction. We took cash and bank, went over to our cash and bank ledger account, put in the same date, post reference G1, and then posted the debit amount here over here. $12,000. And then we need to go over and update the balance. And so because there was no previous balance, we just simply put the equal sign and clicked on that debit. And then we return back to the journal and take that account number 101 right there and type it in here to indicate that we posted that account. And so we did that for capital, office furniture, accounts payable, cash and bank, and I believe that's where I left off. Let me see. I did do the 8th for cash. There it is. What we can do, let's go ahead and review how we update that balance there, because this is the first time in this problem where we have another entry to the same account, so we need to update the balance. So it's going to be a posting of $1,600 to the cash account, and so it's on the 8th, and the reference is G1. I don't know why I put a 2 there. It's General Journal page 1 still. Made a $1,600 debit, which corresponds to that debit right there. And then we come over to the balance section, and you want to make sure that you don't put this over here. It's not a credit balance. It's still a debit balance. In fact, we have an we have an increase in the debit balance because we have two debits. And so when you have debits in cash, increased cash, so you add the debits, and if we have a credit, then we will do a subtraction. So if we did have a credit balance in cash, that would indicate that we are out of cash, and that is not a good thing. So what we did is this formula here, where we took the previous balance, $12,000, plus the new debit, an increase of $1,600, to get our new debit balance of $13,600. And this is important so that we know on the 8th of October we have $13,600 cash in the bank from which we can pay bills or do whatever it is that we need to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and make this description column a little shorter for this lesson because we are not putting anything in that description column. So I'm going to do that. And then I come back and put that 101 right there. Next, wash revenue. So I'm going to scroll through and look for a 400 level account. There it is right there, wash revenue. And it looks like I did post that one. On the 8th, journal page 1, it was a credit of $1,600 because revenue increases with a credit. And once again, because there's no previous balance, we are simply going to put equals that location. And so our balance is a credit balance. That's what the brackets indicate for this problem, of $1,600. It does not mean negative. It just means it increased with a credit of $1,600. And then I come back and make sure that I put 401 to show that I have posted to that account. Next, advertising expense. Let's go find that. That will be a 500 level account. There it is. First entry, so I'll put the month and year, and then the day, which is the 10th. And again, it's G1. It is a debit of $75. Update the balance. And there we go. Take that 501 account number, place it right there to show that we have posted. Now we have another cash entry here on the 10th, but this time it's a credit. So we're going to be subtracting. Let's go over to cash. Our date is the 10th, journal page 1, but we have a credit of $75. Now you do not want to come over and do this. That would be wrong. It's not a credit balance. We are simply going to take the previous balance, debit balance of $13,600, but now we have a credit of $75, so we're going to subtract that credit. And so now we have $75 left, but it's still a debit balance. Come back and put in that post reference to account 101 and move on to the next journal transaction, withdrawals. We're going to have a debit of $900, so we're going to go look for that 300 level account because that is an owner's equity account. And I see that I do not have a withdrawal account. Forgot to include that. So what we can do is just simply duplicate one. And so what I will do is right click that, move or copy, make sure you're selected on the capital account, create a copy, click OK, rename it, and I believe the number in this problem is 305, and then be sure to come up here and rename that also. And then of course we need to get rid of this transaction because that was from the capital account. And I'll make that column a little smaller so we can see it. Okay, now we can make this entry to withdrawals of $900. And the date is the 13th. It's a debit of $900. Update that balance. And get rid of that old formula from the previous account form. And so there you go. Made a little mistake there. Account 305, post reference, and withdrawals is posted. Next up on the 13th is another entry to cash, because that's what we withdrew from this business. So we're going to go back to cash and post that. And once again, it's a credit, so we're going to subtract from the previous balance. And so at the end of the day, on the 13th of January 2017, we have $12,625 as a balance in our cash account. Well, let's keep going. And don't forget to put that 101 there. Accounts receivable, Valley Auto. Accounts receivable is an asset. Let's look for a 200 level account. There it is right there. $400 debit. That is on the 17th. And Valley Auto owes us $400. Hey, hi there.
I had turned the alarm off, so.
And so we update that balance. $400 is now owed to us from Valley Auto. And that's account 110. And so by doing these post references, it shows the account that we posted to. It also keeps us up to date so that we know exactly where we are, which will be very nice. So if you come back tomorrow and you're working on this, you know exactly where to go. All of these have been posted. That means I am on this one right here. Interior detailing revenue. That will be a 400. There it is. Yep. And that is on the 17th. AG1 and a credit of $400. Update our balance. Account 410, back to the journal, 410. 18th, accounts payable. O'Brien's office supply. That's going to be a liability. What level would that be? 100, 200, or 300? The answer is practice. Get it right. Yes, 200. Look for a 200 level accounts payable to O'Brien's office supply. There it is. AP, accounts payable O'Brien's. And what's happening here? It looks like we made a payment of $2,500. So we owed O'Brien's money, owed them money for, something that happened back here, it looks like, on the 5th. So now we're making a payment of $2,500, paying half of that. So we need to go post it to our account on the 18th. So it's a liability. The liability is decreasing, so we are going to debit the account now. How much do we owe O'Brien's now? We owe them previous balance minus the payment of $2,500. So now we owe them $2,500. Account 205. 205. cash. That's how we made the payment. Remember, that's the only way you can pay bills is with cash. 18th. Decrease in cash, therefore a credit. So we need to subtract previous debit balance with a credit entry. Now we have $10,125. And back to 101. Okay, up next looks like we're buying some office equipment. That's an asset. A 100 level account. There it is, office equipment, account 125. '20th. Next problems we do, I'll see if I can set it up so that column's already smaller. That one can be a little smaller too, it looks like. And that's a debit because we are increasing the amount of office equipment that we have. 350. Account 125. Next up, capital. Oh, we invested the equipment. That's what it was. We didn't buy it. It was brought in from personal use, brought it in to be used by the business. So therefore, it will be capital. Looking for 300. There we go. Now we're going to add these credits. Credit and credit plus. So now we have a claim of $12,350 to the assets of this business. Or I should say that the owner does, Regina. That's her claim to the business. And that's account 301. Rent expense. What level number for expense accounts? 500, that's right. Let's see here. There it is. Account 520. $22nd. And expenses increase with debits, and that is a debit of 600. Account 520. Cash in bank is how we paid the bill. It will be a credit. And we go up and go ahead and finish the rest of these. Similar fashion. Car wash equipment. Another asset. How did we pay for it? That's our next entry. This credit here, it looks like we owe Allen Vacuum Systems the money. Accounts payable. We haven't paid for it yet, so it's not a cash entry. It is a payable. So at the end of the month or at the beginning of the next month, we'll probably make a payment on this. $1,500. So we need to go to our 200 level accounts. Liabilities. There it is right there, 201. Liabilities increase with a credit. The balance updated. Account 201, post reference. 2 to go. 2 journal entries to go. Closing in. Looks like we're going over to cash. $26th. And it looks like we get to increase our cash, so we'll do that with a debit. And then be sure to add previous debit balance plus the new debit. Posted to account 101. Accounts receivable. So somebody paid the money that they owe us. That's good. Valley Auto. There they are, account 110 on the 26th. And so we're going to credit their account. There's a term that pops up that a lot of people are familiar with. So because they are paying their bill, we are going to credit their account. That's why people get confused about the meaning of debit and credit. It simply means increase and decrease depending on what type of account it is. It doesn't necessarily mean good or bad. So when they bought something, we debited the account because it's an asset. Now they've paid their bill. We're going to credit their account. And the balance is previous balance minus the credit. And how much do they owe us now? Nothing. The dashed line indicates that they are paid in full. Account 110. And the last transaction here, accounts payable. Looks like we are making a payment to one of our liability accounts here. So O'Brien's office supply on the 30th. Be our last transaction for the month, and that is going to be a debit, paying off the rest of the money that we owe them. So we are up to date with O'Brien's. We have paid the bill at the end of the month. And we'll go and post that reference to account 205. And we paid with cash. Subtract that credit. And post reference. Problem 6-5 is almost finished. We still need to do a trial balance. So at this point, we have all of our journal entries completed, and we have posted all of those journal entries into their respective accounts in the general ledger. So now we can look at this, and we can answer questions such as on January 30th, how much cash do we have in the bank? The amount of cash we had in the bank on January 30th, the end of the month, $7,425. Let's see, Linda Brown, accounts receivable. Well, she doesn't owe us any money because I don't think she did any business with us in this problem. Accounts receivable, this company, Valley Auto, is paid in full, and so on. And so we will next do a trial balance to show the balance of all the accounts to make sure that debits and credits are equal, and we will do that in the next video.